I would like to welcome everyone on this beautiful day to the webinar with IOD, Institute of Directors, Finance and FinTech Group. Today's webinar will be about blockchain and NFTs. We will start first with talking a little bit about the IOD, then we'll move over to the main presentation. And then we'll have also time for questions in the end. So if any of you would like to ask any question, please note them. There will be chat open. And in the end, we expect the webinar to take about 45 to 60 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions. If any of you would like maybe to send direct emails, please also feel free to do that, and we can answer your questions after. So once again, welcome. Institute of Directors has been established in 1903 and in 1906 has received the Royal Charter, which means that it has been selected by the government to advise companies about governance and compliance. And it is the only institution where you can become chartered director. We currently have over 20,000 members, and we operate around the UK, but also internationally. If you have any interest in the membership, we have a great number of benefits. Please let us know. We have a David here that is facilitating this call that can tell you all about the wonderful benefits. My name is Yvonne de Ville, and I am the chair of the Finance and FinTech Group in the Institute of Directors. Our group, as the name suggests, focuses on finance and fintech, and we want to be the center of excellence for this sector, which means we mostly focus on three pillars. Number one is the collaboration between businesses, so not only within the Institute of Directors, but externally. Number two is education. So this is where we do webinars as such and events, and we try to share knowledge and educate our community and understand what's happening in the technology and the finance side. So we are all up to date with the new developments. Number three is the influence. So this is where we work with the IOD policies and the UK government to work on the finance and fintech ecosystem. And this is where we engage with embassies and promote finance and fintech internationally, but also other countries to UK. If any of you would like to find out more, and please feel free to follow our LinkedIn page, which is IOD Finance and FinTech. Feel also free to contact me directly on LinkedIn and follow me. And everyone's always welcome to join and follow us on all our events. Right, and today, very exciting webinar about blockchain and NFT. This is the future, and we have two wonderful expert speakers that I'm very excited to introduce to you. First is Alan Seller, who is the CEO and founder of Your Crypto Coach and Blockchain Bootcamp. Alan is a specialist advisor in the London Chamber of Commerce, panel expert on blockchain. His crypto educational videos have over 3 million followers on TikTok, so please do find him and follow. His company's aim is to make everyone in UK ready for blockchain and digital asset future in sound, practical and safe way. Alan will be talking to us about blockchain. We also have the wonderful Lavinia Osborne, and Lavinia is established agent for chain in blockchain, expert of NFT and metaverse. She's a founder of Women in Blockchain Talks, and this award-winning platform is inclusive to all community and all genders. So please find it and follow it. Lavinia has won a number of different awards and nominations, including in 2011 LinkedIn Top Voice in Tech and Innovation Award. And Lavinia will be talking to us more about NFTs later. So let's not wait. Alan, please tell us, what should we know about blockchain?
Oh my goodness, I better get my PowerPoint up and ready then, hadn't I really, I guess? So what do you think?
Yes,
Okay, just one
we are very
second.
excited to hear more.
Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay. So, can we see that? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. And first of all, thank you to Yvonne and David, and of course, Lavinia for, sharing this communication today so we can talk about the most disruptive technology in the history of humankind. And we'll explain why that is in a minute. So I'm going to talk about blockchain and try and keep it as simple as possible. I'll have to admit two things. First of all, I'm not from a technological background. And secondly, I'm not from a financial background. So how on earth did I get involved with blockchain? Well, actually, I was obviously, like a lot of people, curious about cryptocurrency and, of course, Bitcoin. And that was several years ago. But to be frank with you, it was not Bitcoin that got me excited. It was blockchain, because I started to realize how disruptive this technology is going to be. I also saw that there were significant large institutions investing hundreds of millions of dollars in this technology. So I thought, well, if they're investing so much time, money, and energy, it must be very important. So let's take a look in detail in hopefully a non-techie way. The main purpose of blockchain is to allow fast, secure, and transparent peer-to-peer A to B transactions. And it's not just financial transactions. It can be any type of digital transaction. And we're going to look into that in a little bit more detail as we go through. Let's try and understand how it all works. So if you think about a blockchain as being a huge database shared across a network of computers, and in the blockchain world, we like to call these computers nodes. Now, the great thing is about blockchain is that all of these nodes have access to the blockchain and indeed have a whole copy or access to a whole copy of the blockchain. Now, that illustration there is not quite factually right, because actually all of those nodes should be connected to each other. But to be quite frank with you, if we put all the lines on the screen, it would look a mess. But this gives you an idea and how they're all interconnected. So how does it actually work then? Well, all of these nodes work with a predetermined protocol programmed into the blockchain and using very, very complicated mathematics, which is called cryptography. And that indeed is where the word cryptocurrency comes from, because obviously crypto is short for cryptographic. So cryptographic currency, very complicated maths. So together they form together to verify every single transaction that goes on the blockchain. But how does that actually happen? Well, this is where blockchain is unique, because over 51% of all of the nodes have to basically agree and authorize every single transaction. Now, when you think about it, that makes a blockchain virtually impossible to hack by a bad actor. I'll give you an example. Bitcoin, the blockchain of Bitcoin, has over 100,000 nodes spread across the globe. So for a bad actor to actually hack to the Bitcoin blockchain, they would have to take control of at least 51,000 individual nodes before they could make an impact on the blockchain network. And that's pretty much impossible to do. So now, transactions can be any type of digital transaction. And here we have a block. What happens is with the pre-programmed consensus, a transaction happens, 51% of the nodes or more agree that that is a valid transaction, and then it is stored in the block. Now, different blockchains have different block sizes. As an example, the Bitcoin blockchain has a blockchain storage of 1 megabyte. So as soon as the transactions fill up that block, it gets sealed, it gets closed, it is full, and it can't be changed again. And to give you another example of block sizes, you may have heard the world's second largest cryptocurrency, which is Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is a very different type of blockchain upon which developers can build different applications for different industries and different use cases. Well, an Ethereum block has a capacity of, say, 15 megabytes. So it's a very different type of blockchain. But nonetheless, when that block gets full of transactions, be it a contractual transaction, a digital transaction between two parties, or indeed a currency transaction, and the block is full, it gets sealed. Then what happens is another block starts, and now we start finding out why this is called the blockchain. Now, the interesting thing as well, for extra security, once the block is full and gets sealed, then nothing can be changed within that block. Not only that, there is something that I like to call it the block's fingerprint. It's called a hash. And basically a hash is a sequence of characters and figures that actually shows that that blockchain is now sealed, and that is the fingerprint for that block. The clever part is this: that same hash starts off or is incorporated into block number 2. So if somebody wanted to, or a bad actor wanted to tamper with block number 1, then that couldn't happen, because they would have to then interrogate block number 2 and so on, because they are intrinsically linked with the same hash. The great thing about blockchain as well, and we'll show this, is that everybody participating in the blockchain can see what's going on. Every single participating entity knows exactly what's happening on the blockchain at any given moment in time. So that's a run through of how it works. By the way, there are over 21,000 different blockchains in the world. All of them have their own token. And I have to say, most of those blockchains don't have real great use cases, but we can talk about that in the Q&A. But the benefits of blockchain, well, it's not just about Bitcoin, as we'll start to see. The benefits are, first of all, it's a decentralized system. So this means it requires no single central server, and indeed no central entity or no central party can have control over the blockchain. So it's decentralized. Starting to see now that it's unbreakable. Well, as I've said, once a transaction is confirmed and it's stored on the ledger and protected by this very complicated mass, and indeed when the block is sealed, it's protected by the hash. It therefore cannot be changed, cannot be deleted without the consensus of over 51% of the nodes. Now, the other thing is this: can you imagine then how useful that is for things like intellectual property, terms and conditions and contracts that have been agreed and sealed? All sorts of things can be stored on the blockchain and protected, and it protects the owner of a particular IP, for example. And as we've started to see, as it's a shared database, everybody can view the full details of every single transaction if they so wish. And I've already mentioned that can include the source of the transaction, the date, the time, the destination of where that transaction is going, where it's come from, etc., and who the parties are that are involved. So lots and lots of benefits. And as major organizations have very quickly found out, because the blockchain is a peer-to-peer network, it removes the need for a third party. So this means it can reduce costs quite significantly. If you can imagine the benefits of that in all different industries, all different spheres, it makes things faster, cheaper, more secure, and more transparent. Amazing. And because it's decentralized, there is no central point of failure. So if a central server goes down, it wouldn't matter, because the rest of the nodes would take up the slack. So there's no central server, and the other computers or nodes will keep the network running with no problem. So the blockchain is always available. And this is what floated my boat when it came to blockchain. when I was looking at this 5 years ago. And when I started to look into, I mean, Bitcoin was fine. When I started to look into blockchain, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, look at all these major organizations that are actually investing in this incredible technology. As I've said, it's one of the most disruptive technologies known to humankind, and major players have invested huge amounts of money in it. But let's take an example. I can clearly show you here that blockchain not just about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. That is supposedly a mango hanging from a twig of a tree. But there was a study done by Forbes Business Magazine and looking at Walmart in the States as how their logistical program worked and how they were getting their fresh produce from the field to the shop. Now, in the normal circumstances, getting the mango to go through all the different stages of the process to get to the store, but more importantly, to monitor the effectiveness and monitor the quality of the fruit, Forbes and Walmart realized that it took an internal team nearly 7 days to affect those processes. However, with blockchain, it took a couple of seconds. So you can imagine the benefits of a company like Walmart, and it was able to monitor everything with precision and to analyze and to check the progress. It only took a few moments to do. So that's quite an amazing example of how blockchain can change the way companies operate. As I mentioned, there are over 21,000 blockchains, and that means there are over 21,000 tokens. And I have to say, most of them won't be around within the next 10 years. And probably Lavinia might agree with that when she comes on to speak to you. But one of the great things about blockchain is that because you can create a token from a blockchain, it basically means one of the advantages that businesses will surely realize in the not too distant future is that things like intellectual property on your balance sheet, or indeed goodwill, can in fact have got a value, but generally that value is only realized when that business is sold. However, with blockchain, you can monetize those line items on your balance sheet. So consequently, your IP can be monetized and you can create a token for your IP, for your stakeholders, be it staff, be it shareholders, and that can be or will be enormous benefit to companies. And as it so happens, one of the things that your crypto coach has introduced is blockchain for business. And we are now developing an interface which will allow companies and accountants and regulated professionals with their clients to create or monetize line items on the balance sheet by using tokens to have liquidity for IP and also goodwill. So make a note of that URL. I'm sure it will be sent out anyway. Maybe grab the QR code now so you can register your interest, because we are developing that as we speak, and it'd be great to hear from you and see what you think.
Lovely, Alan. Thank you very much. So we will have some questions a bit later.
Sure.
And now, Lavinia.
First of all, thank you so much, Alan, for your overview on blockchain technology. And of course, as blockchain or NFTs and tokenization is a huge part of the ecosystem of blockchain, there will be a few overlaps, but that was a great presentation and introduction to blockchain.
Thank you.
So with that being said, NFTs and the tokenization of digital assets or via digital assets is a big part of the blockchain ecosystem, with NFTs becoming a 40 billion market in 2021. Now, this is really important because I'm sure that many of you, just in your exploration in this space, may have seen the headline stating that NFTs have gone to zero. This is not necessarily true. This may relate to PFPs, which is a form of NFTs, but not all NFTs are made the same, and nor did they have the same value at the beginning or the high values, and therefore had the same drop as some NFTs. And like any market, especially a nascent market such as blockchain technology and NFTs, there's going to be some highs and there's going to be some lows. And we all know right now the economy globally is going through some lows. So, do not listen to the news. What I always say is that, watch what the big companies are doing rather than what they are saying. And that will give you a guidance of what you should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to this space. So, just going back, what we're going to be looking at is NFTs in the metaverse. What is an NFT? NFT use cases and NFTs legal considerations. So, McKinsey.com, we all know McKinsey, the huge consultancy business. Now, they are very much invested in the whole metaverse and Web3 space, and they release a number of reports annually. And this report came out earlier this year or at the end of last year. And so the link to that report is at the bottom, is stated at the bottom. But if you wish to find this report for yourself, then just Google McKinsey.com and value creation in the metaverse. Now, you may think, what has the metaverse got to do with NFTs? Well, the metaverse is part of the blockchain ecosystem, and one of its drivers, one of its tools to be able to create equity and also transfer of that equity is via NFTs. So you can look at NFTs within the metaverse as a vehicle, and a vehicle to transfer wealth, to transfer assets from one platform to another, from one wallet to another, from one owner to another. And so as it stands at the moment, the metaverse had an investment. So there was a number of investments into the metaverse in 2021, which equaled up to 13 billion. As Alan touched upon, this space and this technology is the fastest growing technology that has ever existed. When the internet came out, it took a number of years to get to a certain number of users. The same amount of users in this space has taken practically months. Okay. So the potential market value by 2023 is predicted at 5 trillion. 59% of consumers are excited about the metaverse and all that it brings with it. And 57% of metaverse aware companies say they are adopters. So what this indicates to me, and as you as directors of institutes, of businesses, of commercial entities, is that this space is growing, and this is an opportunity for you to learn more, to delve in, and to take this space seriously and all that comes with it. So blockchain, the metaverse, and NFTs. NFTs as drivers and vehicles in the world of metaverse that bridges the blockchain and the metaverse, and also allows one to use NFTs as that transfer of value, of ownership. To add on to that, the metaverse, it is a developing opportunity because this is a nascent space. And so what this shows, and it's from the same report. So again, I encourage you all to look at the McKinsey report, Value Creation in the Metaverse. And it talks about Roblox, and the daily active users of 55 million. Okay. And you have various companies, high profile companies, such as Nike, such as Meta, who are all doing collaborations and all sorts of partnerships with Roblox because of their daily active users and the value that they bring. You've got daily trading volume of NFTs at their peak was 250 million. Metaverse real estate sales, 500 million. Invested by Meta into the metaverse development annually, 10 billion. And then XR headsets are shipped, 80% produced by Meta is 11 million. And yes, Meta has had its ups and downs with the metaverse, But you cannot take away from the fact that for anything to develop, you need to put investment in it. And what it's stating in the report as well is that by, tomorrow, the future, they're expanding the set of use cases, fully immersive environment is going to improve the interoperability between the worlds and enhance concurrency, ubiquitous digital physical overlays, AR, VR device and proliferation. And of course, that's going to touch on all the other emerging techs and touches as well as AI. So, what is an NFT? Well, there are many features around an NFT, but the first thing that one needs to understand is that an NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible just means that it is seen as a whole. Its value is a whole. A fungible token or a fungible item, a fungible currency means that it has the same value even if it's split. So a perfect example is the Mona Lisa as an asset. The Mona Lisa is valued at the point it's valued at as a whole. If someone was to cut that up in 4 pieces, it wouldn't equal 4 pieces. It would just lose its value 100%. Now, an NFT, in the context of blockchain, it's indivisible, meaning that it cannot be cut up. It's a digital asset, of course. It's unique. That's one of the things that gives its value, that it's unique and it's transferable, of course. So in this chart, what we look at is not only what is an NFT, but how it's created, how it's sold, how you can add value to it. So the first step of it is that you can create an item to sell, to digitalize, right? So you may have an asset that has a lot of value for you. Now, generally speaking, when we talk about NFTs, we're looking at something that that can be like a picture, an audio, something that's already digitalized. Okay, so you create an item to sell, again, a picture, audio, video. And then what you need to do is you need to register on an NFT platform. That platform could be something like Rarible. Okay, then you connect your crypto wallet to that NFT platform. A crypto wallet, obviously, it needs to be decentralized, which is generally what crypto wallets are, decentralized items. And the first kind of wallet that comes to mind is MetaMask. But as long as that wallet can be used for NFTs and it's decentralized, then it can be any crypto wallet. Then what you will do, you will upload your NFT to a site and add to the NFT site. So for example, Rarible, and you'll add a description and stipulate terms. Now, what I'm describing to you right now is a way for you to also create value, which you can then sell, right? So what I love about this space and the fact that it is decentralized is that anyone can do this. You don't have to ask permission from anyone, not Rarible. You don't have to ask permission from MetaMask to download a wallet or to create a wallet. And so anyone can go through this process. So that's step 4. Then what will happen is that you create your NFT and you create it by minting it. Okay, so think of the treasury. When they produce money, what they do is generally called minting, right? So they're minting money, they're creating money. So this is why I said that you're creating value, you're creating an asset. And obviously, as we know, depending on the market that you are creating that asset for, be it an NFT, a business, a product, or a service, is then dependent on what price point you can sell that item for, right? So we mint the NFT and then we have to pay a gas fee. And once you pay the gas fee, that means it's now registered onto the blockchain. If you do not pay a gas fee, that means the item may be minted, but it's not registered on the blockchain. And the blockchain could be Ethereum, it could be Polygon. As Alan touched upon, there's different blockchains, different protocols, different platforms. It all means the same thing. Okay. And some platforms they can be used for NFTs, others you cannot. Okay. And of course, if you want to know more about all of this process, then a deeper conversation can be had. But ultimately, once you pay the gas fee, that then registers the item on the blockchain, and anybody can see it. And when I talk about a blockchain, I'm talking about a public blockchain, meaning that anyone can access the records, because it's important to say that there are different types of blockchains. But again, that's another conversation. So once you've done that, you continue on the same platform. So as I touched upon, example, Rarible, and you set a bidding price and a duration. So you might say, okay, this NFT, we're going to put it up for sale at this price point and for 1 week. And then once approved by the website, the NFT website, buyers can then view and bid for it. And then once the auction finishes and the website regulates the transfer of the NFT, that NFT is then moved from, for example, my wallet in which it was created and shown on the blockchain, to the purchaser's wallet. Now, it's very important to say that, when you do this, this can sound quite complicated, but once you go through the process of it, it's much easier than what it sounds. And this was one of the reasons why I created an NFT minting party. And this was just an idea where groups of people come together and they mint an NFT individually or collectively, and they go through the process. We go through the process together, and it just allows people to get their feet wet, right? And it can be done as a sort of team building or like a Christmas party orientated setting. So an NFT minting party. So in my ebook, which is free to download, what have NFTs got to do with me? You can read more about the process and other information that is stated in the ebook. So let's just talk about use cases, because one may think, well, what has it got to do with me? Why should I bother? Well, all of these big companies are interacting and engaging with this technology or with this element of the ecosystem. So if you're in technology, you have all of these companies who have dabbled, who have engaged, who have created, and who are utilizing NFTs for their consumers, stakeholders, clients, to engage with them, because this is a great branding tool, NFTs. You've got payments, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, they're all engaging. Food and beverage, retailers, banks, clothing and fashion, media and entertainment, okay? And then others. So it doesn't really matter what industry you're in, this is relevant to you. This is the future of how companies, institutions will engage with their shareholders, will engage with their clients, will engage with their customer base. So as touched upon, you can use NFTs to promote a product or a service, to celebrate an anniversary. NFTs can be collectibles, for example. NFTs can be a way to mark an occasion. NFTs can be used as a token gate to give access to your clients or your customers to exclusive offers. And then, like I touched upon, it can be used in the metaverse. Maybe you may want to set up a presence on the metaverse. And in order for individuals to access your presence on the metaverse, be it a storefront, they would need an NFT to do that. Again, collectibles, which are assets, or you want to make yourself distinctive from another brand. So you're going to create profile pictures, which then people can use to showcase that they're part of your community. And as I touched upon, business events as well, maybe you're marking an occasion. So there's many different ways that you can use NFTs. And it's all very exciting, it's all very creative, and it's all very tangible as well. So let's just talk about legal considerations. So legal considerations, the first one is IP. You need to make sure that what you're creating is doesn't have you're not taken away from somebody else's IP. And this is again a nascent moment in this space. This is all new, and there's been lots of NFTs that have actually sold for a lot of money, and behind the scenes they're being taken to court because they have they've transpassed on IP protection. So it's very important to make sure that you are, if you're going to go down this road, that you take that into consideration. You also have to take into consideration the number of scams and bad characters and bad actors in the space. As Alan touched upon, with blockchain technology, bad characters can't manipulate the blockchain. What is on the blockchain is on the blockchain. And if a bad character tries to manipulate the data that is on the blockchain, the other nodes, aka computers around the world, of which there are thousands upon thousands, will say that node, that one node that's being manipulated is incorrect. But that doesn't mean that a scam cannot happen where your NFTs are moved from your wallet to another wallet. What it does make, what it does do, it allows you to make tracking that asset much easier. It doesn't just disappear into the ether. You can see where your asset is. It doesn't mean that you can get it back easily. It just means that you can see where it is. And this is what happened to me last year. So doing what I do, I am very aware of how to keep safe. And two of my high-profile NFTs were stolen from my wallet. And when that happened, I took it to the High Courts of England and Wales. And in doing so, the judge granted me a proprietary injunction rather than a worldwide freezing order. When that was granted to me, I became the first person in the world to be granted a proprietary injunction for a digital asset, aka an NFT. So I set case law, my name and this case, Osborne versus Persons Unknown, is in the law books. And my case is now being used around the world. And the reason why it's being used around the world and why it's so important is because before that, NFTs were not legally classed as property. Off the back of my case, it is now classed as property, and it has an impact on how NFTs are seen from an insurance point of view, a taxation point of view, and of course, a legal property point of view. So with that being said, I'm very much at the forefront of talking about how we can ensure, that consumers coming into the space, and all consumers coming into the space, are protected. And so there's conversations I'm having with MPs about Web3 Charter. I attend a number of events around regulation and compliance, and about how we can do more and what sort of laws are coming in to protect consumers. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I was in a position to get the legal support required to create case law. However, not everybody is in that position. So it's also about how to create that access. And we've got a long way to go. But again, this is a new space. And as we come in and we add our value and our experiences and expertise, there are many ways that we can help to we can all make this a safer space. So with that being said, please do connect with me. If you're interested in knowing more, then get involved. And this is just a short testimonial. I won't read through it. The PDFs of this presentation will be sent to attendees and registers after this call. And just to say that our next event, if you're interested and you're in business and want to know more about blockchain or already in blockchain, then I run a monthly event called Blockchain Business Breakfast. The next one is October the 30th. It's in St. Paul's, the city, and details will be shared in the chat. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lavinia. There's definitely been super interesting content, and I'm very interested in the sort of NFT parties and your events as well. Alan, also thank you very much for the introduction to to blockchain. It is all definitely very fascinating, and I'm sure all of our attendees and the group will definitely want to find out more. I already have some questions, so I'm gonna read through them, and any of you, either Lavinia or Alan, can answer. So the first question, I think, Lavinia, this is actually for you. If the blockchain is so safe, how did it happen that your NFT was stolen?
Well, there are some very clever, smart individuals in this space. And ultimately, you know, there are going to be bad characters in every arena. The financial markets have been around for how many years and people still get scammed? So the question is that blockchain as a technology ultimately is a data ledger. It doesn't stop people from being scammed. It doesn't stop people who have the skill sets from manipulating flaws in a wallet or flaws on OpenSea, for example. And, if you were to look into if you were to look into OpenSea, you're going to know that there has been flaws on their platform. There's been flaws on MetaMask, and so these things can open you up to attack, so to speak. And so, as touched upon, blockchain doesn't stop you from being scammed, but it does allow you to track your assets, as I touched upon. And so that is what the blockchain is very good for that, and it does help us to be able to see the movements and to be able to keep an eye on the stolen assets. Where in real life, if you think about fiat currency, if someone steals from your bank account and that money's washed, you just don't know where it's gone. You can't track it basically. So yeah.
Thank you, Lavinia. Alan, I think this question is for you. What advice would you give to someone who is new to blockchain technology and they want to see how can they use it for the business?
Two stages to that question, two answers. Have an open mind, first thing. And secondly, come and talk to me. Because we've got our blockchain for business community, and that's set up specifically for businesses to understand how blockchain works and how it can have an impact. And the key thing, Yvonne, with this as well, is that some of our attendees tonight might think, well, blockchain technology sounds great, but my business is relatively small. However, this is the important thing. Your business may not be big enough at the moment to warrant the investment in blockchain development, blockchain technology. However, you may well have a client, a large client, or a large supplier who is now on the blockchain, and they may come to you one day and say, right, as one of your biggest clients, we are now on the blockchain. This is what you need to do. Now, quite frankly, if you haven't got the terminology, or you don't know what blockchain is, or you don't know how it affects your vertical market, your sector, then you're going to be looking a bit silly in front of your biggest client. So even if you're not going to have a blockchain application, I think it's incumbent upon all business owners and all directors of companies to learn about this disruptive technology. There's one thing I think Lavinia mentioned is a great point, actually, that it's one of the most quickest adopted technologies in the world. Well, the figures are these, and they're incredible. It took the internet 18 years to reach 500 million users. It's taken blockchain just 8 years. And in terms of mobile communications, it took 17 years for there to be 1 billion mobile phones connected. And the estimate is it will take blockchain just 11 years to get that same number of users. So that's pretty staggering, and that's why people should get involved with blockchain.
Thank you, Alan. Just to reconfirm to all the attendees, yes, the recording of this webinar will be shared in few days, and also the slides, the presentation will be shared as well to all the attendees. We will also post on the IoT Finance and FinTech linking page, so please do follow us. So we have another question. And I'm not sure whether this to you, Alan, or to Lavinia, but here it is. Is there a minimum value in traditional currency that makes creating NFT worthwhile? worthwhile? Sorry, Lavinia, I guess for you, right?
Yeah, Lavinia, I
Sure.
guess that's yeah.
I don't think there's a minimum value. I mean, what is the purpose behind creating the NFT? There are ways that you can create an NFT, like I said, to mark the anniversary of an event, and it can be done free of charge using POAP. And POAP stands for um, um, oh God, proof of attendance protocol, right? So that's a platform where you can create NFTs. Now, what the value will be in the future, who knows? So no, there isn't a minimum value. It really depends on why you want to create the NFT in the first place.
Okay, super. Thank you. One more. Um, with data crunching ability of AI application, can we still confidentially say that attacking multiple nodes in blockchain is highly unlikely? So I think we worried about the sort of the artificial intelligence ability to hack.
Yeah, not being a technologist, but there is a mathematical equation that you can look up on the web, which works out how much computer power would be needed to actually hack into the Bitcoin blockchain. And apparently at the moment, there has not been enough computer programming power invented to be able to hack into the Bitcoin blockchain.
Oh.
Now, who knows what's around the corner? Who knows what AI is going to do? Let's be fair. None of us know.
Okay.
But we don't, do we? We just don't know. If you'd have said to us 2 years ago, you'd be able to have an AI assistant to do almost everything for you, you would have thought you were a bit mad. So we don't know what's going to happen with AI, how it's going to affect. But what I can say is this: there are significant blockchain projects that are incorporating AI. There are many AI crypto tokens now that are working with blockchain and combining the power of AI and the power of blockchain. So clearly they can work in tandem. Whether or not AI can be used to hack a blockchain network, we don't know. But at the moment, it looks unlikely.
Thank you, Alan. Another question. What is the difference between tokenization of a balance sheet and NFT?
Hey, so Alan did touch upon that one of his upcoming projects about to launch is a tokenization of a balance sheet. And so, as touched upon, that tokenization is making a tangible, even a non-tangible asset digitalized, which is then recorded on the blockchain. And so, what Alan is talking about is looking at your balance sheet and looking at what can be tokenized. Tokenization is going to be huge in the next year. You know, we had a huge focus spotlight on cryptocurrency, then on NFTs, which is a form of tokenization. You know, as I touched upon before, while I was going through the presentation, NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. And so a fungible, we don't say fungible token, we just say tokens. Okay. So both of them are tokens, both of them fall under tokenization. It's just that one is fungible and one is non-fungible. So the difference between the tokenization of the assets that Alan was talking about is taking it or it's not a NFT where it's just one whole. It's more just saying that we can take that asset, tokenize it, and then once it's tokenized, maybe you go to your community, your shareholders, your clients, your consumers, and say, okay, I want you to be part, or I want you to be able to leverage these assets, but in doing so, you pay a certain amount to be part of this cohort, this exclusive group per se. I don't know how Alan has set up his launch or the tokenization of the balance sheets. Then
One of the key differences between, say, monetizing or tokenizing an asset on the balance sheet and NFTs is, of course, NFTs can be traded, bought and sold publicly. Whereas the idea of monetizing or tokenizing a balance sheet item is that it'll be an internal market. For example, you will not be able to necessarily create, or not yet, create tokens for your company and then convince a crypto exchange to list them on your on a crypto exchange. This is for an internal market, stakeholders, shareholders, staff, and it doesn't go outside that circle. And that's a big difference between tokens within, tokenization within a company or organization, and indeed NFTs. I think that's one of the big differences as well.
Okay, thank you very
But
much.
sorry, just to add,
Yeah.
sorry, Ava, but it's very important to say that if you want to tokenize an asset within your company, so as a business or a company, you can obviously make it public, or you can make it external, or you can make it internal. That's up to you. But just to say that with NFTs, again, they're fungible and non-fungible ultimately.
Okay, thank you. Another question, and I think it's for Alan. You've mentioned that blockchain has the fastest adoption rate of any technology in history. How does it compare with, say, the adoption of internet or mobile phones?
I'll answer that question.
Oh, you have answered it?
Yeah.
Can you just
I answered it. I'll with pleasure repeat it. It took 18 years for the internet to reach 500 million users. Well, it's taken blockchain just 8 years, so half the time. And with mobile phones, it took 17 years to connect 1 billion mobile phone users. And it's taken, or will take, blockchain just 11 years to reach the same number. The other important thing, Yvonne, mentioning about blockchain and the world and users, is that there's another key thing here. Unbelievably, 1.6 billion people in the world have no access to finance.
That's right, yes.
And so Bitcoin and various cryptocurrencies allow the unbanked to have access to finance as long as they've got a mobile phone.
Yeah,
and that is massive.
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah, very important.
Especially sorry, Yvonne. Yeah, that's so important, especially from the point of view of inclusion and diversity.
Lavinia, have you seen, sorry to interrupt you, but have you seen that? I think it's Netflix or Amazon Prime, where there's a documentary called Banking for Africa.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's an amazing documentary about how Bitcoin is affecting remote villages in Africa and allowing them access to finance, whereas they didn't have it before. I highly recommend everybody to watch it.
Thank you, Alan, for sharing. And we have just last question. If anyone's got any more, please do type them in. Last question, that's for both of you, Lavinia and Alan. What excites you most about the future in this space of NFTs and blockchain?
Lavinia, away you go.
Well, if I'm honest with you, you just touched on it, Alan, the diversity of and the accessibility even of this technology and how it can create a positive impact. Yes, we've got bad actors in the space. You have bad actors in every space. And as I touched upon, it's nascent. We will improve. We will get better. There will always be bad actors. But the impact, the social impact, the sustainable impact, and some people will argue about the sustainability, but there's the cutting of trees for paper to print money has had more of an effect and has more an effect on the global climate crisis than blockchain. And what I love about this space is that we see the problem and we look for solutions, and we're doing it rapidly and quickly. And so what excites me the most is that accessibility element, the fact that it can have an impact on people from all parts of the world, and the tokenization of assets, so we can create wealth in a more equitable way. So that's what excites me. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm excited. If Lavinia touched on it, I'm excited about the can-do attitude in this sector. Whenever I go to an event, a networking event, a meeting, or meet people within blockchain, within crypto, within smart contracts, within NFTs, within all this stuff, Everybody is looking for ways to do things, and the positivity is unbelievable. So it's I've met so many can-do people that's the best, and that's what excites me about this space.
Thank you very much, both of you. It's definitely has been very educational, very interesting and fascinating topic. And I'm sure all of our listeners are very grateful for their content. And I'm sure
Pleasure.
they're all going to reach out to you. I would like to thank everyone who has joined this webinar. Also would like to thank David for helping us facilitate it. Please do follow us on the IoD Finance and FinTech page. And we're going to have more events and webinars coming up, so please do follow us. We will share the recording of this webinar and also the presentation in the next few days. Once again, thank you very much, and I wish you a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.